Guys, we have an urgent breaking news coming out. One of NATO members sounding the alarm. It says here Russia, massive nuclear arsenal in Arctic is pointed at the US. Wow. Alright, so we're going to see what's going on here. Do me a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Thank you again for your support. I really appreciate it. It says here Russia is reinforcing its presence at a base in the Arctic Circle, including nuclear, pointed towards the United States. Once again, according to the Norwegian Defense Minister, Thor. Alright, so we're going to see what's going on here, guys. Before I start, for those of you that want to send us letters or prayer requests, you can send it to me, US Santiago, or my wife, Jessica Santiago, at 3432 US Highway 19, number 2, Holiday, Florida, 34691. And for those of you that want to contribute to the channel, we do have the Cash App link and a PayPal link in the comments box and also the description box. Thank you again for your support. Your support is what keeps us on air. Thank you so much for that, guys. All right, so once again, it says here relationship between Moscow and the West. Nosedive in February 2022 when Russian leader Putin ordered his military to conduct a full invasion of Ukraine, sparking the biggest war in Europe since World War II. Now, Western and Europeans, they call it invasion. Russia calls it military operation. Now it says here, this week saw the US president announce he didn't want a wasted meeting with Putin in Budapest after the Russian leader rejected American and European demands for an immediate cease plan. Now the US president also introduced a new sanction package targeting the bare oil giant Rosneft and Lukoil. Alright, so you guys already know we are seeing sanctions now. US commander slapped not one, but I believe it's two. It says here, Sandvik discussed Russia military situation in an interview with British newspaper. Alright, so give me a second here. So referring to a region of Russia inside the Arctic Circle near Finland, Sandvik said Russia is building up on a Kola Peninsula where one of the largest nuclear warheads, again, one of the largest arsenals of nuclear warheads in the world is located. Now the nuclear equipments are not only pointed towards Norway, but towards the UK and over the pole towards Canada and the US. And I said it. Donald, he stuck his nose in this operation and he slapped sanctions. Now he told us that he was not going to do that. He said that he was not going to drag us into this, and now all of a sudden we have nukes being pointed at us. So he continued, we are the eyes and ears of NATO in this area. And we see that they're testing new equipment. For example, hypersonic, and they are testing nuclear-driven torpedoes and nuclear warheads. Now it says here the Bear bases nuclear weapons on the Kola Peninsula along with its Northern Fleet, which was established in 1733. Again, what goes on in that country, I mean, look, I feel bad for them and stuff, but we cannot just, get involved and stick our nose in other people's business. We don't have, again, sleeping giant comes first. Our safety and security comes first. But, again, it seems like we have to get involved in this one once again. Sandvik argued that in the event of war with the alliances, NATO, the Bear will likely target the Bear Gap, which separates the island of the Svalbard from mainland Norway, along with the GIUK gap between the UK, Iceland, and Greenland. Now, he said Putin needs to establish what is called the Bastion defense. He needs to control the Bear Gap to make sure that he can use his submarines and the Northern Fleet. And he wants to deny NATO allies access to the GIUK gap. At least 7 people were out on Wednesday by a mass drone strike across Ukraine, which Ukrainian leader Zelensky said hit ordinary cities along with energy infrastructure. Now, I did post a video. Russia fired 9, I think, hypersonic. Those are very powerful, very powerful missiles. So during the interview, Sandvik commented, even though Putin is losing heavily in Ukraine, excuse me. No, they're not. They're not. No, they're not. Here's the thing, guys. Losing means that a land has no offense, no defense. The Bear is taking territories, and they're still strong. Now, the one losing is basically Ukraine. They're getting hit really hard. They're getting hit hard. All right, so I don't see the Bear losing. So once again, Putin is losing heavily in Ukraine. He has lost 1 million soldiers. Oh my. 1 million soldiers gone. Meanwhile, you know how many soldiers Ukraine lost? According to the same people that's putting out these numbers, they lost 50,000 soldiers. Russia lost 1 million. Does that make any sense? Leave comments down below. Does that make any sense? So the Bear lost 1 million soldiers. Ukraine lost 50,000. If that's the case, why is Ukraine losing Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, all those regions, and Crimea? It says here the Northern Fleet is intact, and they are developing it. Now, they have a new frigate and a new multi-role submarine developed just in the last 2 years. The most threatening thing about the Bear right now is its submarines. Even though the Bear is not able to win in Ukraine, the warnings of nuclear warheads and second strike capacity from up here, Kola Peninsula, makes them a superpower still. If they lost 1 million soldiers, that means that they are defenseless. They have no soldiers. It's like believing the numbers of the C-19 in 2020. Again, we were like the only country in the world that had over 1 million cases of C-19. Meanwhile, the rest of the world only had like 10,000. Sometime Western put out some crazy numbers, the Westerners. I mean, they just put out crazy stuff to deceive people. In a 2018 article, Jamie, then a research assistant at the London-based Royal United Services Institute, wrote, as early as the 1950s, the Sleeping Giant military planners worked with their Canadian counterparts to place radar system in the far north to detect an incoming of the Soviet strike. The Soviet Union based its northern fleet in the Kola Peninsula for similar reasons, leading to regular nuclear submarine patrols beneath the Arctic icy surface by the Soviet, Americans, and British alike. So what happens next? Well, Moscow shows little sign of winding down its war in Ukraine, meaning tensions with the West are likely to remain high, particularly if Kiev is given access to more advanced equipment systems, such as Tomahawk missiles. But Donald said that he's not going to send them. Again, that's what Donald say. But again, this is a very important news here, guys. This is a bombshell news that's coming out. Give me a second here. Here's another one I want to bring. So, bring up. So the bear massing nuclear fleet in the Arctic Circle for war with NATO. Once again, the bear is amassing nuclear equipment and attack submarines in the Arctic Circle as it prepares for war with NATO. Norway's defense minister has warned. In an interview with The Telegraph, Mr. Sandvik said Oslo had detected increased weapons development on the Barcola Peninsula, where its prized Northern Fleet and parts of its nuclear stockpile are based. Now, he also said that Vladimir was trying to gain full naval control over the Arctic region so that he could block NATO allies' access to two key shipping routes that would help resupply Western forces in wartime. All right. Here's a map. I want to show you something really quick here. So that's way up there. Jeez. Wow. That is way up there. You know how cold is that region? That's why you have the US Nuke Sniffer. It's always in that area. Again, Nuke Sniffer plane, it just detect radiation. So it does make sense why the Nuke Sniffer is out up there. The bear is building up on the Kola Peninsula, where one of the largest arsenal of nuclear in the world is located. Nowadays, the nuclear equipment are not only pointed towards Norway, but towards the UK and over the pole towards Canada and the US. Now, we are the eyes and ears of NATO in this area, and we see that they are testing new weapons, for example, hypersonic, and they are testing nuclear-driven torpedoes and nuclear warheads. Wow. I hope Donald knows what he's doing. It is notorious for housing the most highly concentrated nuclear equipment stockpile in the world and plays a crucial role in Moscow's so-called second strike capability. Russia developing Northern Fleet. In nuclear strategy, the second strike is a country's ability to launch a devastating counter-strike against an initial nuclear strike by an enemy power, such as the UK Trident nuclear deterrent. It seems like World War III could break out in that region. It says here, the Kola Peninsula also serves as a base for the Northern Fleet that the Russian Arctic Naval Force, which was created in 1733 to protect the Russian Empire's fisheries and shipping routes. Today, Mr. Senovic said it serves a more ominous purpose, testing new powerful Russian weapons and expanding Putin's nuclear capabilities. Even though Putin is losing heavily. Alright, so we're going to skip this one here, guys. Again, I can't believe they actually put out this number. 1 million soldiers gone. That is absolute insane. Again, I don't see it being 1 million. Once again, it's like believing the numbers of the 2020. You guys know what happened in 2020. I mean, North K, they put out their number. You know what was their number? 0. Meanwhile, we had over 1 million people impacted by the C-19. It's like believing Joe received 84 million VOTES. Please don't believe those numbers that's coming out from the Western. It's just insane. It's a deceiving system. As the bear continues its war on Ukraine and wages so-called hybrid warfare on the Western allies, Norway and Britain are concerned that the Arctic region is turning into a third key battleground. The melting of ice caps in the region has opened up new shipping routes which would be immensely lucrative, as they would have the distant ships would need to travel between Europe and Asia. All right, guys. I'm just gonna share the rest of the video on my Twitter page. Very long article. Very long article. So, again, this is where we are right now. So you have the bear pointing their nukes at us. And at the same time, they have their nukes pointed at NATO. Wow. Norwegian is sounding the alarm on that one there, guys. So, again, nation against nation and kingdom against kingdom is building up. And all the way up there in the Baltic Arctic. I think it's the Bear Gap, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. Till next time later. Peace.